My guest today is a man who went from playing his favourite TV theme tunes on his piano at home to playing concertos with some of the great orchestras in some of the most distinguished concert halls in the world. Barry Douglas. Barry Douglas, if you hadn't pursued a career as a concert pianist, what would you be?
I had a feeling you were going to ask me that question. I always wanted to be, from the age of 4, to be a long-distance lorry driver. Because I thought that was a great way of seeing the world, and you were sitting high up and you could just visit so many places and be useful too. And in a sense, that's what I became. I'm a long-distance traveler. And I think it's just an amazing profession, driving a truck.
And would you have been useful at the other end in terms of lugging stuff off the lorry, or would you have left that to
No, I'd have
other
a
people?
team to help me, of course.
Of course.
I wouldn't be
You just did the
manhandling
driving.
stuff off.
Yeah, I like that. I like your style. But it all started in Belfast. Take me back to the house in Belfast with the piano that you started playing on first.
Well, we grew up, my sister and I grew up in a house off Dublin Road there. That's where we started. And then when I was 6, we moved to the Botanic Gardens, just near the Botanic Gardens. And I went to Botanic Primary School. And I remember one of the first days I was there, they were rehearsing, a pianist, a violinist, and a cellist were rehearsing this music. And I was 4. So I went straight home and I said, that's what I'm going to be, a pianist. And we didn't have a piano, but my mother was talking to our next door neighbours and they said, we're getting rid of our piano, do you want it? Sure. And that's how I got my first piano.
What was it like? What did it look like?
It was one of those grand old pianos, great sound, a little bit out of tune, but we kept it for 4 or 5 years and then we bought another one. And it was just, I did everything. I played by ear and I just loved it.
And what was it about that performance? I mean, people often find that it's not what your primary school teacher tells you in class, it's the person who comes in. That's the thing you remember, when you look back at your primary school. What was it about that performance, that trio coming into your school that appealed to you?
I can't put my finger on it, but it was obviously the harmony and the music and people working together. I thought it was fascinating that one person was with this huge box, this piano, and one was a cello which had this spike, and the other one, they were holding the violin under their chin. And so I was fascinated by that. One of the main things that struck me was I was trying to work out what the bow was. Was it a sword? I was convinced it was a sword, but then I found out later, much to my consternation, it wasn't a sword, it was made of horsehair.
That maybe said something about the technique of whoever the violin player was at the time.
Screechy.
Brandishing it. So you got the piano, the borrowed piano,
Yeah.
and started playing what at that stage?
Well, I didn't have a teacher at first because I guess my mother was unsure whether I was going to have any patience and dedication. But I was able to, I don't know how this happened. Anything I heard on television or radio, I was able to play immediately. So I don't know. Then my mother, through a friend, found a teacher, a local composer called Frederick Houghton, lived up the Omagh Road. Very good composer. And he taught me for a year. And he just inspired me. He told me all about Prokofiev and Stravinsky and everything. And used to play records. So it wasn't just the piano I was learning. He was giving me a huge all-round education of musical history. And so I think that really stood me in good stead.
And what were the tunes you were playing off the television?
Z-Cars.
Z-Cars. Da, 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 da. Jimmy Ellis.
That's the right key.
Is it the right key?
Yeah.
I'm a natural.